Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. It's your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss an episode of it. And we are very glad that you are joining us. All right, week one in the books for the Commanders. They are 1-0 after a 21-6 thrashing of the New York Giants. Yeah, I use the word thrashing because really this game should not have been as close as it was. I'm thinking they left at least 10, if not 17 points on the field yesterday. Now, of course, it is a short week. Team was practicing today. They'll be back in Ashburn tomorrow as well before heading off to Green Bay for the Thursday night game against the Packers. We will start focusing on the Packers tomorrow, but for today, I want to go ahead and clean up a little bit more of postgame. Spent the day looking at the All-22 tape, so got some thoughts there, and then we will start moving on to the Packers. Now, when you go and you watch the film, the one thing that I noticed after watching it, and I don't think this is, anything that's a huge surprise, but this team is a seriously good team, and they just let the Giants stay in the game by virtue of the fact that they were a little sloppy on offense. There were a few drops, 12 penalties, of course. But other than that, completely outclassed this New York Giants team. And while the Giants are a tire fire, they are in kind of the same boat that the Commanders were in 3, 4, 5 years ago. You look at the Giants, they've got some pieces on that roster, especially at wideout and along the defensive line. But if those were the two strengths of their team, hey, the Commanders handled both of those areas perfectly. Not to mention the fact that they shut down the Giants' running game, which has given this organization fits in the past. And because of that, it was really a dominating performance on both sides of the ball, just didn't reflect it in the scoreboard. And I love the attitude that we heard post-game that, okay, we got the win. That's fantastic. But there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot to clean up. This team says it is not going to be happy just scoring 21 points a game, and feels like, I think it was Zach Ertz that said, this offense feels like it should score every time it gets the ball. And amazingly, thanks to one of the guys that they brought in the offseason, the offense may not be the strength of this team. It wasn't on Sunday. It was the defense. And I think it was the defense, thanks in large part to Javon Kinlaw, man. Javon Kinlaw is just a moose in the middle of that defensive line. Watching the coach's tape again, the Giants were having to double team him almost every single solitary play. And the great thing about that is you got to double team Kinlaw on the inside. It opens up so much more, both for Daron Payne, who had a great game. I think Payne wound up with a sack and a half, really, really stood out. And also for 1 sack, 2 pass defenses. That's what I was thinking of. And also, Kinlaw took up so much space, it just makes Bobby Wagner all that much better. Again, both he and Frankie Louvu. I mean, those guys feasted on Kinlaw, on Dietrich Wise, on Payne, taking up space there in the middle. Between the two of them, Wagner and Louvu had 17 tackles. I mean, it was just, I can't say enough about Javon Kinlaw. A great pickup for Adam Peters in the offseason, which I think is going to become a common theme here with a lot of moves that they made in the offseason, making this team, really upgrading this team's roster from what it was last year. They just seemed a lot stronger, not as easy to push them around yesterday. I think that's what you saw. And again, it's just week one. So provided they stay healthy, and you can say that for just about any team, I think they're just going to get better. I also think there's a lot of depth on the defensive line. So if, God forbid, there are any injuries, there's not going to be that much of a fall off in play. Knock on wood. One of the other offseason acquisitions, this one via the draft, I thought had a really good game, and that was Josh Connerly making his first start at right tackle. And again, This was not the easiest thing for a rookie to do. He was going up against Brian Burns most of the day. When he wasn't going up against him, it was Kevon Thibodeau, and if it wasn't Thibodeau, it was Abdul Carter, the rookie out of Penn State. Handled it pretty well. Yeah, there were a couple of, I think both of the sacks, if I remember correctly, you could kind of attribute to him. But by and large, with the exception of those, he played pretty well. With the exception of those two sacks, he handled his business in a pretty good manner, especially considering the fact that he was a rookie. I thought he was really solid. I think his PFF grade kind of reflects that. And again, it's a situation where he's just going to get better. And when it comes to getting better, again, another of the offseason acquisitions, back to free agency, Deebo Samuel. So what? 77 and 19. That's 96 total yards of offense. A little bit more if you add in the kickoff return, although I don't want to see him doing that too often. The 19-yard jet sweep that wound up being the touchdown that put things away, and more importantly, some of those big gainers that he hit, hook it up with Jaden Daniels. I think that Terry McLaurin's holdout probably enabled those two to get their chemistry down even a little bit better than you might have thought at first. But Deebo Samuel is exactly as advertised. And again, that's another situation where what have we seen so often with this organization that we're just not seeing anymore? They go out, they make some big splashes in free agency, and none of them pan out. Both Kinlaw and Samuel not just panned out, but showed immediate returns. I think you could say they were two of the really big reasons that they were able to win this game on both sides of the ball. And I think it's just going to get better from here on out. So an exciting season, I think, is ahead for all of us. That's going to do it for us. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button and drop a comment below. What'd you think of the performance Monday night? Let me know in the comments section. We'll read a couple of them tomorrow, and we will start to look ahead towards Thursday Night Football against the Packers. No rest for the weary. Thanks again. Don't forget to subscribe. Remember, like the wise man once said, if you're on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.